Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to America qualifier action here for Dota Pit Season 5. We have three teams remaining. It's NP and EG in the upper bracket, and Complexity awaiting the loser of this series in the lower bracket finals. This is the winner bracket finals for the four-team qualifier. And of course, the overall winner of this qualifier will be going to the LAN with $125,000 at stake early next year. I'm LD. And I have the pleasure to be joined for this one by someone I have not cast before with, but I'm excited to, CCNC. Hey, Quinn, can you hear me?
Yep. Can you hear me? Is it good?
Yeah, seems good. So EG versus NP, I think most people kind of coming in, or at least like a month ago, would have given EG a pretty heavy edge based on their name and obviously the TI results with three of the same players on the roster. NP's looked pretty hot lately, though, so I'm curious of your thoughts about the two teams and if you think there's a favorite as the draft gets underway.
I think EG is a slight favorite. They've been looking pretty good. They had a close series versus Complexity yesterday. They barely took it in third game. Had an anti-mage long game. They played really well. And NP has had some games in the elimination draft. They like ran over DC. They played, they ran over Freedom, but Freedom obviously not the same caliber of team as these two. But I think NP has been looking pretty good. They qualified for the Boston Major with ease, so I think a slight edge to EG, but not by that much. NP has definitely proven that they're ready to tango.
All right, well, let's see how they do here. Draft underway now. EG opening up with the Naga Timbersaw ban, NP removing the Batrider and the Beastmaster. So NP very focused on those map control and kind of tempo setting heroes, and EG much more with the farmers and a little bit more with the team fight specialists. So EG will overall first pick the IO. You know, it's funny because PPD, I remember, God, I guess it was like about a year ago or so. He did an interview where he basically said, like, yeah, we don't pick IO, but this is a different EG. It's a new day for the team with both Zai and Crit now joining the roster and over the last, I guess, 6 to 9 months or so. So they first pick the IO. NP replies with the Invoker Sven, and then they grab the Drow, and they grab that Drow pretty early in the first phase. So thoughts on the openings here from both teams?
NP really likes this opening just because E really values Invoker. It's a hero that he spams in matchmaking like nonstop. I think he just enjoys the hero and thinks it's strong. And Sven, is one of the better cores to pair with it. It's a nice stun that you can have to do aggressive tri lanes and pair it up really easily with the Sunstrike because it's the 2-second stun time, so you get the Sunstrike every single time. The Sven can get more active early on, so allow the Invoker to farm up more early items, and it's just like a good core pairing. And also, the Aoi and E aren't typically known for having the most enormous hero pools, so picking up cores early, it also lets you get your supports later. So once you've seen what their cores are, and try and counter them with those picks.
Yeah, and obviously the Sven pick already ends up being a pretty good matchup versus the Drow in a vacuum with the Warcry. So EG not afraid of that by any means. Now that Sumail Storm is out there that comes to mind as something that goes well with the Drow. Anything in particular you would like to see from EG heading into the second phase? Like what goes particularly well versus these cores?
Yeah, like you said, the Storm is a good pick. They actually banned out the Dusa and the Mirana, so looking like they're ready to deal with the Sumail Storm Spirit. I think that's probably a pretty likely pick. Does really well with the Drow, good against Sven and Invoker reasonably well. Neither of them have a lot of catch. Sven's stun is reasonably easy to dodge once if he doesn't blink and stun you from point blank. Also pretty good versus the Witch Doctor, so I would expect they either maybe third or fourth the Storm Spirit. It's probably Zai playing the Wisp, so as far as crit goes, maybe looking for an Oracle. Might be a little too save-oriented though, so... Some hero versus Winter Wyvern doesn't look terrible here. Good versus the Witch Doctor ults, good versus kiting the Sven. They have a lot of right-clickers, good with the versus the Invoker and the Sven, obviously. Very right-click oriented cores. The ult works really well. Good at stalling off pushes. So maybe looking for a Wyvern as well for crit.
Yeah, and right now, really not that much magic damage on the side of NP, so that Cold Embrace would be very handy and, of course, great for dealing with the Sven. Curious to see what EG do and like how much they want to commit here to try and take those mid-game team fights, or if they just look for more of that like spread the map offense. Because I mean, you see Drow IO, like it's a little bit of gank, but it's a lot of potential push and sustain as well from the Aura and the Tether, the Overcharge. So I guess it really is open-ended as to which way they want to tackle this, and they do opt for more of that push and team fight route here, grabbing the Warlock. You know, I was pretty much exclusively covering the Asian qualifiers, but Warlock is all the rage in SEA. Like almost every game, first phase picked or banned, and once in a while we'll slip through until the second phase. And then in China, he's been a little bit less popular, but still saw some play. How do you feel like Warlock fits into the meta here in America, CCNC, and do you think he's a good matchup in this particular game?
I think a lot of it varies from team to team. Complexity, a team that's known for being very five-man oriented, very team fight, group up early. So the Warlock working well for them. A lot of teams like first banning it versus Complexity. EG not typically known so much for their, we're going to group up super early on. More of like playing tactically, getting pickoffs, and sort of playing the, we'll just outplay you sort of style. EG more typically known for. So, the Warlock, yeah, definitely a good pick here. Nice, the heal, very nice versus the Draw Ranger. The Fatal Bond's always just a ridiculous spell. And also, whenever you do have the Sven Invoker heroes that, once they have a couple of core items, are just going to sort of run at your heroes. It's sort of what their lineup does quite well. Once they've got a couple items online, they blink on the Sven, the Invoker with, drums on the way to Ags. So the Warlock, a nice counter initiation tool. And the Upheaval, also very, very good at kiting Sven before he has BKB up.
Yeah, I remember when Aoi started playing Warlock. Speaking of players in this game, he obviously won't be handling it this time as he is on NP, but he would even max Upheaval. I don't know if that's really the build anymore. It seems like everyone goes Fatal Bonds and Shadow Word, but it does have some utility, like you mentioned. So NP picked the PA, and I got to ask you, CCNC, is this a core or a support PNA? Because I just got done seeing Z-Freak play support PA. He went Uv, and he went for the minus armor orb as well, and he had like no regen basically, and just he I think he had a mega kill at like 5 minutes. So, which are you expecting this game, or do you think it's open ended?
I think it's most probably this the support PA. 1337 plays that quite a bit, and it became really, really popular in NA pubs in the last month or so. Like you said, getting the Bloodstone and the Oob, and you just sit mid with a Clarity and you throw daggers at them. It's not quite as good anymore because the nerf was, or the range was nerfed, so you can't sit out of your mid XP and throw the daggers. You have to sort of sap a little bit whenever you walk in for daggers. So not quite as good, but versus a hero like Storm, a hero that really needs a good start and is very prone to getting bullied early, the PA is probably just gonna. This mid lane is going to end up just being sort of a dual lane scenario, I think, with the PA throwing lots of daggers and the IO helping the Storm out so he doesn't get too far behind early on.
Yeah, and obviously he's going to have his work cut out for him with the Drow Ranger pick as well. So not going to be the easiest lane to tackle that Storm, but we'll see what NP can do. Of course, with this pick, they do sacrifice some like mid-game catch or team fight potential. So if it is in fact a support, so it does put a lot of pressure on these lanes. For NP to deliver. Heading into the last picks, Tidehunter gets removed by NP. Looks like they're targeting a Universe hero. Unlikely that his has been picked yet. And usually are very reliant on the Rock to take team fights in the early to mid game, at least in terms of a head-on clash. So, what Universe hero do you want to see? Is this like a Puck kind of game? I mean, Darkseer's out there, Void is available. What are you thinking?
I think they may lean more towards the Slaughter, the Nyx. Okay, they go for the Axe. Yeah, I was gonna say they want an offlaner with more shorter cooldowns because MP's draft is very much we'll get some core items, we'll try and do well in our lanes, get early items up on Sven, and they just sort of run at them. Whereas EG has like much stronger team fight, the coordinated fights, where things go to plan, work much better for EG. So I think the Axe is a really good choice, really good versus the Sven, obviously. The Blade Mail sort of owning him, and the Invoker as well, pretty good verse. Whenever you have some higher levels, the right-click damage amping up quite a bit. So I hear with short cooldowns, can go to the jungle and get the Blink reasonably early. That'll be interesting to see if the PA goes and sort of tries to mess with him. But the Slaughter as well with the PA, the Amp Dagger is brutal.
Yeah, this is a lot of physical burst and pickoff potential, assuming that they have a decent start here in the lane. So 1437 is going to be on the PA, the support Phantom Assassin. Rears its, well, I won't say ugly head, but its head anyway. And EG definitely get, I think for me, the most probably iconic hero for Sumail in the Storm. I still remember his first big event that I watched him play, which was, I believe, DAC 2015, about a year and a half ago at this point, and it was like he was unfazed. There was one game where he got ganked like 5 times in the mid lane, and they still came back and won, and he had like a 15-minute Bloodstone even after that. So you want to talk about resilience. He certainly showed it there, and I got to imagine he'll be playing it this time around. And of course, along with that, the ever-impressive crit IO. We'll see an early smoke here from EG as the Fountain gets Sunstrike. Just a bit of intel going to be looked for. Let me fix my camera sensitivity. But talk to me about these early lanes. You know, you mentioned a bit the Phantom Assassin trying to control mid, the IO looking to do the same. What kind of matchups are you expecting to see, and who do you give the edge to, Quinn?
I mean, I think this top lane should be fine for EG. You know, it's the typical solo offlaner. He'll get what he can. He didn't start the Iron Talent, so he is looking to contest. Maybe keep this Warlock pinned down, so the Warlock and the IO can't both rotate to mid and maybe threaten a kill. So they will be they'll be pinned up in this top lane, but our TZ should farm fine. This mid lane, I think it will lean EG favored. This PA will be able to throw daggers and stuff, but Storm with 6 armor, so not quite as effective versus him as some other mids. And then with the Wisp probably hanging around there as well. And Sumail just known for being just a really good laner, and that being probably one of his weaker spots. I would expect mid to lean their way as well. And Universe got the Iron Talent, so bot lane's a no-brainer.
All right. Well, definitely has that plan B available if he wants to retreat back to the jungle. As we will see Sumail immediately moving towards this rune. NP going for the late smoke, and they do have that Sven initiation available, though Crit is just slightly out of range. He moves up and away to the high ground and then tethers back to Arteezy. Looks like he'll make it out. 1437 is able to force them away. And Universe like, well, if 9 heroes are going to fight over that top rune, I will just go ahead and collect the bottom. So he gets the bounty. He's going to head into lane. MSS alone there for the time being. So it is the PA Witch Doctor Sven offensive tri-lane in the end, and this does give the Axe the 1v1 matchup.
Yeah, the Axe starting with the Iron Talent, so not with very much regen, only the 1 Tango, or is MSS having the full set of regen, the Mango, the Salve, and the Tango, so should be able to farm fine under his tower. They trade farm, the Axe getting a little bit more, probably because he can farm these hard camps, but yeah, NP really likes to do this with the Sven. They go aggro Tryon almost every game they pick it. They can coordinate with the Sunstrikes. But I think it'll open this mid lane out for Sumail to maybe dominate just individual skill wise. But this top lane, it should be okay for EG if they can survive without getting killed. They just have to be wary of getting stunned into the dagger, into the Sunstrike. It's quite a bit of burst damage early on.
You look at the mid lane, he's got 70 damage, and that's not even counting the overload. So, winning the last hit war for Eternal Envy at level 1, he only had 50 to work with. Definitely not easy at the start, but with the Forge Spirit, actually sitting at 6-1, or 5-1. I jinxed him and he missed that last hit, but doing pretty well, all things considered. Obviously, as the drought levels up, it gets a little trickier, but at the same time, he will get more exort damage. So 1437, he does move in with the Blightstone and Orb of Venom, but 0 regen to try and contest this pull. Unable to fully stop it. Zai will let out an early Fatal Bonds, and I guess we're just really waiting on the Sunstrike. So aside from that, Axe versus Slardar, normally very Axe favored, right? But Universe going for the Iron Talent, it looks like he is dominating this lane so far, though.
Yeah, both heroes will typically farm in most Axe matchups because you do just, pull the aggro until you push out the wave, and then you go farm in the hard camp. So the Slardar will get most of the CS under tower, but the Axe will just outfarm him because he can farm the hard camp. And eventually things start getting hairy for the Slardar as Axe hits 5, but it sort of swings back the other way when the Slardar gets to level 6. You can't really play up that much anymore, and it ends up just being a farm war most Axe lanes where the Axe can't just bully the person out of the lane, which is the case for Slardar a lot of times.
Looking at the bottom lane, MSS is calling for that Sunstrike. It doesn't look like he's getting it. I don't know if it got used elsewhere. Universe just backing away. And MSS ever so low. Even turns around for one last hit. Universe. Oh, threatening. He gets up the battle hunger. MSS. Not like that. I don't think that was in the anime script, but the Sunstrike to counter it. It's Universe's turn to feed. Oh, man. Some avoidable casualties here in the bottom lane, but first blood does go the way of Universe, and I guess Envy gives him a free heal at the fountain.
Yeah, dying like that is definitely not what you want to do, but he did run out of regen, so trading a whole lot early on looks like he tried to punish Universe only having the one Tango, but maybe Universe getting a lot of spins or something because he was completely out of regen, had to buy another set of Tangos now, so not the worst thing in the world that he died there because he was able to get more regen at the base instead of having to TP back and then run all the way back down, so Universe does get the first blood, definitely not what you want to have, but not the worst because he does get a free trip back, so able to have some regen and come back and farm in this lane.
I do want to point out already EG keeping tabs on the Sven here and any potential ancient stacks as they did already ward that area of the map. For now, NP remaining pretty static in the tri lane. Do you expect to see any support rotations here from either team, CCNC, or are they just going to hold tight and rely on their cores to make the space for them?
I mean, at this point, I think it's too late for MP to really make any rotations to mid. Smells almost level 6, doing extremely well in last hits, only almost like doubling up EE's CS. Since he is almost 6, he's practically ungankable at this point. The supports may be able to rotate down for the slaughter, but I expect they'll just let Universe alone, let him do his thing, farm up. They may do the lane switch at some point, bringing the Sven down as his farm is starting to suffer as the draw gets more levels in the Precision Aura, and the Warlock getting the more levels in the Shadow Word. So EG's tri-lane is going to get progressively stronger as they get more levels, whereas NP's sort of their power spike is very early on in this tri-lane with a lot of the Storm Bolt, the Dagger spells that don't really scale that amazingly, and Sven a hero that needs some safe farms, so they may end up just doing the lane switch when MSS gets 6 and bring the tri-lane down to bottom.
Yeah, so that Phantom Assassin did make her way towards mid, 1437, though scouted out by a dire ward. So they ward wisely here to protect the mid lane, and now Sumail about one half wave from getting level 6 or so. He's going to move in, at least try to poke a bit and leech some experience off of Eternal Envy, but no real kill potential. And EG do see this, so I guess not really the best killing tri-lane at this stage, but can play more aggressively anyway in the top lane.
Yeah, their lane just is very good at winning by attrition. All three of these range heroes with the Drow Aura, they'll slowly just begin. Well, Smell actually goes down.
Oh, didn't get level 6. One creep away, and the Cold Snap plus the Dagger ends up getting the kill. I just assumed with the ward there and knowing the P is in the neighborhood and being that close that he wouldn't get caught, but still ends up going down.
Yeah, just a little bit too greedy. Only one creep away, whether it's denied or not, from the level 6. So just hanging out a little bit too long. Could have just backed up and gone to the hard camp. So kind of unfortunate and pretty costly. Dying like that is whenever you're just one creep away from level 6. They NP realizing that he wasn't 6 and trying to get something out of that before he does get to that crucial level. So nice rotation for 1437, hoping Sumail would get greedy, and he did.
So Universe moves back to the jungle now, already level 7 and 1,000 gold bank. So a very fast pace here for the Vanguard, assuming he wants to go for that, or potentially a Blink. And NP still holding on to the offensive tri-lane. There has been a bit of ancient stacking as that ward expired. I think at least one of these was undoubtedly scouted by EG. And they're up against the Sven. They've certainly played the hero enough historically to know how he operates. And definitely have a lineup that can fight well around those Ancients, with the Storm being able to scout things out, the Axe Blink initiation a bit later on, and of course they can steal them with the Axe, so people need to guard those vigilantly. But for now, Sumail, he moves into the enemy neutrals. He now is going to trot down towards bottom, and for the time being, 1437, the man out in front playing very aggro on this top lane, but still a relatively quiet game. We really haven't seen that many rotations, just the one from the PA. But the big ults are coming fairly soon. Warlock already 4 and change. The Slardar Blink Dagger not that far off as far as item progression goes. So I imagine we're going to see a lot more action relatively soon.
Yeah, EG not giving up any kills in this top lane is actually very impressive. Really nice positioning from the supports, especially versus all this disable they have in this MP tri lane is like it's really important you don't die in lanes like this because they do have the luxury of the pulls. So the supports, like you said, almost a level up on NP supports, and once they get these big ults online and the Axe Blink Dagger, they will have a super strong timing with the Drow only one level away from level 6 as well. So their power spike gonna increase massively in just a couple of minutes with those items and levels.
Well, Sumail posting up in the mid lane. Continues to shove it in and getting a little chip damage in on the tower whenever the creeps get to it. But there will be a TP rotation. The first move from a core is going to be MSS, as he sprints towards top momentarily. There is a Dire Observer ward in the area, freshly planted down, and for now, Sven, the only hero showing, so they might get a glimpse of this. It's all about when that smoke breaks, and it breaks at a pretty decent time. Zai, though, still going to get caught out here. The cast comes through. Oh, that crush hurts real bad, and they find the kill with the Sunstrike. That will secure the EE Midas. He gets the last hit, and he gets the experience as well. But Sumail immediately moves in on him. He knows the Sunstrike's on cooldown, so he can play much more aggressively here. But not going to go for anything on his own.
Yeah, a nice move from MSS, realizing that the game is not going so great right now. The Warlock almost level 6 and trying to make the most out of that small timing they have before he's 6.
Universe does reveal the blink, finds a solo kill bottom. Blink call into a dunk, and he chops up the PA who wanted to catch up a bit in levels here. MSS, oh, so close to his own blink, about 400 gold short, but Universe is going to catch him out. Can he finish him off? The crush retreating out. Shadow Word won't be enough on its own, it looks like. Has the 2 stick charges even if he gets close. Unless Universe wants to blink again and doesn't want to risk getting caught and crushed under a tower. So he will make it out.
Cute little play there. Dropped his Tranquils right before the tower hit him, so able to keep the move speed up and the region so he could top back off to full and maybe rotate mid off of that.
Yeah, they're getting very aggressive now with this Universe blink. And MP have actually abandoned the bottom lane entirely. Even though they see 3 heroes elsewhere, and they still have the tier 1, they just do not want to tango with EG.
MSS going down there is actually really huge for EG. Was only like 200 gold away from his blink, just trying to head back to the lane and farm that up. Then going down there, they're going to continue to pressure him, and the Axe being off the map, seeing him down here, MSS has to be really careful. If he goes down again, that'd be catastrophic for them, as MP really needs him to get that blink. Aoi is not doing the best in terms of net worth, so it's going to be a long time before he has that Pico Saber blink. So really depending on MSS to get a pretty good blink dagger timing.
Oh, that blink call from Universe, though. Relocate coming in hot. Speaking about delaying the blink dagger, they're going to get him with the Shadow Word. The Frost Arrow's not particularly high level, only 2, but it's enough for the first kill, and now they're going to snowball it into 2. A chop from Universe secures it as they also bring down the Witch Doctor. EG, the full-on jungle invasion, well underway now. Sumail even getting involved there, so 5 heroes bottom, basically, as the final one will be crit TPing back down to rejoin the team as the relocate ends.
Yeah, super nice from EG, realizing that, hey, if we can shut down the Slaughter's Blink Dagger, they really have no way to make moves. They're behind. The Sven is quite poor, and the Evoker isn't going to have a very high impact for a long time, so going down there, making that aggressive move, killing the Slaughter, and now getting this tower as well, so the Slaughter is going to have to sit up here and farm this top lane for a little bit. We'll have it in a few more waves, but EG going to have control of their jungle now, and the Drow Ranger and Wisp, really, really elusive once the Drow gets some items. Because the overcharge, you can just sort of power farm all the lanes, and it's very hard to get on top of this Drow.
Man, EG, they have a script to deal with Sven, don't they? Like, they warded off the Ancients multiple times now, or at least kept vision on them. Didn't contest that first Ancient stack, instead take the tier 1, but they've also dropped some sentries here to block the smaller camps. They take down the tier 1 bottom. Not only can they farm, but they, it looks like, have a plan that's hellbound on just denying NP any sort of comeback gold and turbo farming in their own right.
Yeah, the job porting up to top with the Universe, so continuing to just kill MSS, or at least try to.
Good call from Universe. Another chop, another kill. He's suddenly 4-1. Crit comes in from behind, just relocating himself in without anybody next to him, but it's enough for a follow-up kill. The rock is dropped, and then Envy all of a sudden might go down here. He's low to the Fatal Bonds. Looks like he should survive this with the 2 Quas Orbs, but EG instantly transitioning back into a push. Crit unable to stay there.
Holy cow.
But, oh, Envy actually gets balled down by Sumail on the backlines on top of that. So EG make it 3 kills. He did that while he was invis, right? So he just balled where he predicted him to be?
Yeah, that was blind.
And has no vision, yeah. Sumail just comes rushing in like from, I don't know, what, the top rune roughly?
Yeah, it was around there. He was walking up the ramp to that hard camp area and just zipped all the way over.
So you have Io just like spirit bombing them at the tower. Normally it's NP who'd think would be doing the spirit bombing. And then Sumail, a little zipping of his own. So EG like that, take the tier 1. They find another 3 kills. Suddenly Universe has a blade mail on top of this, and they're not done yet. They're going to immediately roll onto the tier 1 mid. They are just styling on NP right now. It's over a 5,000 gold lead at 13 minutes.
Yeah, EG just hitting all of their timings right on the head. Continuing to shut the Slaughter down. 3 deaths after, he was this far away from Blink Dagger 5 minutes ago, and now still not having the Blink.
Oh, the Universe, he's got the high ground position, he gets up the Blink goal, and speaking of that Blink, it's going to be delayed again. Blade Mail ready to go. Envy almost got caught there as well. And maybe NP even lucky it wasn't him, but Universe straightly transitions on towards mid now after that. And they have their eyes set on this tier 1 mid, so access to the Ancients is going to become a problem. Universe there, getting the Battle Hunger out on Envy, but doesn't really have much backup, though. As I say that, they can always relocate in. They do have the Storm. Speaking of that Storm, Sumail going for that more aggressive build. It will be an early Orchid. Not even going to bother with the Bloodstone for now.
Yeah, that's actually kind of surprising that he's going for that. Fallen quite a bit out of favor lately, as it does limit your farming quite a bit, but you can sort of tell how they want to play this game at this point, realizing how strong they are right now, and going for the items to help them fight right here, right now, trying to get a massive lead this early game. And like you said before, they had a plan to deal with the Sven. You could see it earlier yesterday playing versus Complexity. They let them take the Drow, and then they picked Ogre and Nature's Prophet and just like aggro trialing them, and so, punishing their weaknesses. You can see EG really prepared for these games.
Uh-oh. Well, this could be bad for the Sven. He does have access to God Strength. The Kaz comes out. It's far too late. The Blade Mail chop just goes right through all that armor from the Warcry. They'll collect 2 kills here. Envy, well, he managed to TP out, and he's going to go straight for Roshan. Site of some haunted recent memories, perhaps. But hopefully, with MSS here, should be a better story for him this time around. And does have the double Forge Spirit as well as the Alacrity. So they're going to try to sneak Roche, but even if they get it, it's already EG just utterly wrecking NP.
Yeah, at this point it's more of a just denying the Roshan. Doesn't really do that much on E right now. Still not in fighting shape or even close to it, but keeping it out of the Drow's hands slows down EG's death ball maybe a little bit and giving a nice boost of gold. So that killing the Roshan, I think giving the last to the MSS as well. So has the Blink Dagger now, so NP probably going to go look for a play as they are sort of in dire straits right now. Need to try and find some solo pick off some heroes alone and punish them before EG gets the rest of their core items and just groups up for a push.
Well, this one goes swimmingly, I guess you could say, for NP. At least there was no real contest from EG. And it does, as you pointed out, deny it to the Storm, which would have been potentially very game-breaking. But still, EG in great shape here. They have a fresh rock ready to go. They've got all their support levels and items to get them through this stage of the game, and only just now is the Blink picked up on MSS. By the time that he gets his Blink, Universe has not only a Blink and a Blade Mail, but he's on his way to either Yule's or a Force Staff, so big items for the Axe, who is just now falling out of favor as far as the most farm in the game, but he was there for a while. So the Ancients begin to get farmed, and the Shadow Blade will be picked up by the Drow Ranger. They really want to flex their map control muscle, EG do. Owie? Getting there. The Echo Saber under construction. The Blink Dagger reveals Sunstrike makes Sumail go splat. Big pickup there, and then the Centaur dominated creep is going to be microed beautifully as they try to bring down the Axe, but he will be brought back to the well. The IO might just be sacrificing itself for the greater good here. We'll have to see. No, they want to fight this. They got the Rock. They're bringing in Universe. He already TP'd himself back to mid, but the IO gets caught. The Rock gets dropped. Look for the call. It's on 2. Blade Mail available as well. Will be activated, but Envy able to disengage. Still holds the Aegis. SVG most likely will be going down. Can they at least save the Invoker? That's the question. The Fatal Bonds. Oh, it's going to crack the Aegis, and they're also going to get that kill to the north. And now onto Owie. Universe, he's got bloodlust in his eyes. Only seeing red. The amp damage comes out from Slardar. He threatens to go deeper here. MSS just winding up the crush. And that game of chicken will end, but they get the Aegis. They get 2 kills in exchange for an IO and a Storm. But EG just straight into the push after that.
Yeah, that ward on the hill, Storm zipping up there trying to get Vision and maybe start a fight, but didn't realize they had the ward there. Got the crush into the Sunstrike with the Cold Snap, so wasn't able to zip away before he got blown up. And a nice kill on him, but afterwards, Arteezy coming out from the side, MSS not really timing the crush onto the relocate back perfectly, and so Arteezy getting the silence off, the Wisp able to live through and then heal everybody up after the Axe coming in with a nice call. So really well played from EG, realizing that they can turn this fight even though they're a hero down.
I mean, honestly, like, you see 5 heroes surrounding where Wisp is coming back to, and the Axe doesn't even directly return on the relocate, you're like, okay, they're at least going to get crit here, but even crit lives for some time there with Zai dropping the rock. And well, how do you see the teams matching up going later, Quinn? Like, there is some obvious late game here on both sides, but for now, EG have all their outer towers, and it is a Sumail Storm on the Dire side, so with the Drow backing it up. Does either team have the edge? Is it more about execution here for you? And how do you see them stacking up?
I think a lot of it, like you said, does come down to initiation. NP, to win these fights, they really need to get the jump with either the Slaughter or the Sven, maybe even jumping separate targets, so getting as many initial pickoffs as they can, because if these fights don't go very, very quickly, NP needs to win these fights in a super short amount of time, maybe getting a crit with the PA, Sunstrike, because once they use all their initial spells, they really have no sustained damage in their lineup. It's all around bursting a couple of heroes, so if they don't get that initial jump, the Warlock heal, the Fatal Bonds, the Rock coming out, and the Storm just chasing people down, the cold arrows, NP really needs to take these fast fights, and if they don't get initial kills, then EG, as the game goes later and later, just going to dominate these fights that don't end in just, 6-7 seconds.
Yeah, especially when you, like, later on in the game, the Sven's getting repeatedly called, potentially. His BKB wears low. Slardar unlikely to live through extended fights, given that he's just a walking Blink Dagger crush and an amp damage at this point. So we'll see. At that point, it really puts a lot of weight on Envy's shoulders to take over. And speaking of Envy, he did stop off for a Staff of Wizardry here. Did not go straight into the BOT's Blink build, and it's actually a completed Yule Scepter for him. So wants to be able to survive in the team fights and also to have a little more utility. But obviously will come at the cost of his pure farm, as there's a relocate onto Owie ult. The Gust not canceling the TP, and he'll make it out just in the nick of time there as Universe was getting into position. So they're going to find a free relocate kill on the comeback. It looks like Dust gets popped. They really want Arteezy, but no, they're going to jump on a crit. He just gets blown up, and now the Golem's there. They thought it was an easy trap to be sprung, but it's actually an EG trap, and they're the ones sprinting it. Stormbolt there, but Sumail kept alive for the time being by crit with the overcharge. The tether doing work. They isolate and will bring down the Sven. Now EG surging into the NP base. I mean, that just looked like a free IO, and it was anything but, and they're not even done yet. They'll get off the cask on Universe, but Arteezy silver edging after them. He's in striking distance. Oh, Gust doesn't get off that first Frost Arrow. Blink away, but already they're going high ground.
Yeah, it was a really nice play from EG after the relocate gank whiffing. Everybody just immediately, you can see in the minimap, making a beeline for the bottom lane. Sumail with a haste rune as well, so not having to waste a lot of mana to zip into the fight, and having plenty to chase after the heroes and get the pull off onto the Invoker.
Yeah, that's like the next. That's like uncovering like the second level of the IO relocate gank. It's like, well, we have to, historically, like when teams started playing IO, like there was a period where they would just two-man relocate, like tiny IO, just rack up kills. Then other teams started to get good at ambushing, and we saw it used more as a counter gank. And then when teams would use it, it would be with a setup hero like an Axe Blink Call or a Bat Rider Lasso to start things off. And this is that next level where you have a plan B in case it fails, or, I mean, who knows, maybe even we'll see EG do a relocate gank just to bait NP into going after the IO when she comes back. So really peeling out that extra layer of the onion, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I think that baiting aspect of it, that may have even been what they were going for there. Universe using the call really early on in the Sven and having him TP out, so you could see right after he TP'd, they immediately knew what NP was going to do. And that's sort of been the story of this game so far. EG just one step ahead of them at every moment, realizing, the timings they need, how they want to fight, and when they want to fight. And if you know what the other team is waiting for, their strongest timings, if you understand the game at that level, then, you could see the moves they're making, killing the Slaughter over and over again, delaying his blink, just ruining all their timings. And, like we saw in the last fight, understanding as well they need to take these slow fights, not getting jumped by the Sven, just playing this game like perfectly. EG understanding exactly what they need to do.
NP playing checkers and EG perhaps four-dimensional chess. I don't think it's quite that bad, and a lot of this obviously is the snowball effect that they've had from a strong start to the game. But yeah, they're definitely pushing their advantage here. 4 staff now complete on Universe. We can take stock of some of the item pickups. Sven already had the Echo Saber. And does grab the Blink Dagger as his next item, and with that, NP are going to smoke out of the base. No deep vision for EG in this neck of the woods, but at the same time, with all but one tower up, there's pretty limited options on where NP want to go unless they're just going to dive straight onto a tier 1 blindly. And already you see the circle drawn here. Crit correctly identifying that NP, well, I think he might have thought they were in the woods, and in fact, they're just coming, but they nail them with the scan. This could get ugly for EG. They don't really have anyone back behind them. Is there going to be a corresponding dire scan? They find that Blink Crush. Initiation's there. Surprise, motherfucker! And EG lose too, just like that. Holy shit. They were like, all right, we know they're smoking. We know they're in our woods. Surely we're safe behind this tower, but Quinn, they were wrong.
Wow, that was that scan absolutely perfect. That super deep ward between the trees, not in a common spot next to this tower here, and scouted them walking back up. So saw them going into that nook and then hitting them with the scan to make sure that it relocate or TP out, and getting a couple pickup kills. That's the kind of stuff that MP needs to get back in this game. So.
Meanwhile, Sumail, well, starting to go hard in the paint. They may have found 2 kills top and 1 on a drow, but just as quickly they'll lose Owie. Sunstrike. Oh, he gets the creep. But Sumail overall getting out of control here. So the Radiant Courier even got chopped. Universe cuts it off and leaves a bloody little mess on the way to the secret shop. Didn't have anything on it. So, actually, excuse me, it had a single infused raindrop. So the one lane of Rex down, EG finding their kills, and now just going to transition straight into the mid lane. They've got the whole squad together this time, and the rock is available for this high ground siege. This is going to be hard for NP.
Yeah, Sumail having the bloodstone for both of those kills as well, so starting to rack up the charges up to 14. So even if he does die, gonna have the really quick respawn timers. He's only level 16, so not really long despite the bloodstone. So even if he does get bursted down, gonna be able to TP back in after a short amount of time and continue this push if NP commit a lot of spells like the Sven ulti.
Well, Sumail just farming out the enemy woods now. Does have the +2 charges so far. And they will move back to Roshan. And this time around, Envy won't get the free trades where, you know, he gives up a hero or 2 or maybe a tower, but at least he takes Rosh. Now, this time EG, they'll collect that Aegis for themselves as well. And that's going to give Storm a massive power play coming to the next team fight.
Yeah, Sumail
pretty
picking
much
up the plate mail as well, so all their itemizations countering out this this play that MP has, that they just have to burst a lot of heroes, artesiating the Hurricane Pike very early on, as well as Silver Edge, so very tanky and super mobile, getting 2 mobility items as first 2 core items.
Gonna take the Aegis, and MSS there a bit too late. Universe going for the Blink Call, it's gonna miss, but he just dives straight onto Envy. He gets stunned, focus, but that overcharge doing so much work to keep him alive. He goes in deeper, the Crush comes through at the same time the Yules throws Sumail up into the air. Owie stunned, still cooling down. This leaves a very sad and relatively immobile Witch Doctor on the backlines, who's quickly dealt with. They do manage to bring down the IO as a trade. Envy goes in Fizz, he sneaks out. And Sumail continues pursuit. There's the second jump. Welcome to Space Jam Episode 2. God, I wish they would make a good sequel to that movie. But yeah, 3 heroes down. Slardar hits the deck, and support PA really not having much of an impact. Make it 4 as Sumail will find Envy on the high ground. They had an Ob Sentry combo, and that prompts a GG. He's like, Bloodstone, suicide. I'll die with you, Envy. It's okay. You gave us a good run for our money, but EG still looking like kings of the castle here in North America, at least when it comes to more standard straight-up Dota. Wow,
yeah,
that was pretty decisive, I gotta say.
Yeah, they definitely put to rest a lot of the doubts about, you know, if NP was on their level, if they're near, but definitely showing that they're a tier 1 team ready to play with the best of them. So NP gonna have to step it up for the next game. A lot of that game came down to that early engagement with the Axe and the Slaughter bottom, slowing down the Slaughter's blink quite a bit. And the Axe, after that initial death, getting the first blood, is sort of starting the snowball. Universe ending up with a beyond godlike streak, so going completely ham that game.
Do you pin that like just more on the execution and MSS making a mistake here or there? Do you think it's just a bad matchup? Was there any adjustment NP could have made? Like any looking at how would NP break down this game in your eyes, and like what sort of